Episode 1, To Boldly Go, Star Trek Federation Installation 9, or Desafet's Cat House. Well, it has finally arrived. Starfleet records will show that the USS Bastet, NCC 61456, entered Earth orbit at 2300 hours, 59 minutes Pacific Standard Time on stardate 49707.26. She was immediately routed to Earth orbiting repair dock number 5. Since 600 hours, an engineering team made up of the people that will become her crew have been aboard, checking her over and awaiting my arrival. The Bastet has been in mothballs ever since the end of the war. I have never been able to comprehend that term. As I understand it, the insects humans call moths, or more properly their larvae, eat fabric made from the hair of a ruminant called a sheep. I do not believe the Federation uses this item in the construction of their vessels. I have been in the office of the Starfleet Admiral since 800 hours, reading reports and getting briefed on the situation my crew and I are heading into. Another thing I have been doing is paperwork. To civilians it seems that we just beam aboard and whoosh, we're off. Not true. The powers that be in Starfleet are as addicted to forms as much as any bureaucrat. While, because the Bastet was in storage, there will be no formal transfer of command between myself and the captain that brought her here, there were papers that basically said he got her here in one piece, and that's the way I accept her to be signed. Also, there is a particular tradition that dates back centuries that says the captain of the vessel is financially responsible for it. Although I've never heard of anyone having to pay for a ship he or she lost, there was a form stating that I had been advised of this custom. I finally got out of the office at 1200 hours, and after capturing a bite to eat at the complex's restaurant, I headed for the transporters so I can personally inspect my new ship. Arriving in the Bastet's transporter room, I exchanged pleasantries with the crew member on duty and then depart for the bridge. As I explore the corridors to the bridge, I mentally review the information I have received on the Bastet. She is a Sabre-class scout vessel, 172 meters in length, crew complement of 40, cruising speed of warp 6 with a maximum speed of 9.7 for 12 hours. During the war, she was assigned to a section of the Cardassian front to patrol. After the war, the Federation was in a hurry to get things back to normal including getting the larger vessels back to the business of exploration. Due to the horrific loss of trained personnel, many smaller ships were put into short-term storage until needed, or until the level of Federation personnel had been restored to pre-war levels. I am so lost in the information that as the door slides open and I step onto the bridge, I hear, "Captain on the bridge." I catch myself starting to turn around and come to attention before I realize I am the captain. "Anything to report?" I ask as I settle into the command chair and cringe as it cramps my tail. "It looks like she saw precious little action in the war," Chief Engineer Jacob begins. "I'll have her purring like a kitten in no time." Then realizing who, or more properly what, she is talking to, she adds, "No offense, eh? Your belongings, including your pet chicken, have been beamed aboard and stowed in your quarters," Gerv, my Tellarite first officer, informs me. "Pet chicken? Are you expecting any other livestock, Captain?" "Are you referring to cows, horses, or pigs?" I asked jokingly, quickly adding, "I think Starfleet already thinks there are more than enough animals on this mission." "For record," I began, addressing all, "Ma, my Romulan chicken, was a gift from a humble farming couple to this Federation officer as a show of gratitude for a Federation ship saving the warbird their son was a crew member on. I consider Ma a gift to all races of the Federation from the people of Romulus." I left out the fact that I tried to have Ma served as the main course for the wedding I was on Romulus to attend. Changing the subject, I order, "Getting Shuttle Bay ready is top priority. I will be bringing Kzinti patrol craft I am testing over from my former post later today." "I can do that for you, sir," Jacobs offers, possibly trying to make up for the kitten remark. "Thank you for offer, but you would not be able to pilot vessel," I say. "I'm a pretty good pilot," she replies, sounding a bit defensive. "I know, I saw that in your personnel report, but you lack 2 essential items for job," I explain. "What 2 items?" she inquires. "Expressive ears and tail," I answer. "The vessel makes use of emotions conveyed by ears and tail to adjust sensitivity of controls." I have those, Gerb begins. I'll be glad to get the ship. Again, thank you, but you also would not be able to pilot the craft, I inform. Why not, he asks gruffly. Your smell, I begin. Tellarites don't smell, he growls angrily. I am sorry, Gerb, I meant your scent. As security feature, craft smells anyone trying to use it, and if scent does not match what is stored in memory, it will not move, I instruct, trying to soothe my offended first officer. How does the vessel obtain the initial sample of the pilot's scent? Jacobs asks. I take a deep breath and say, I had to mark it. Mark it, she questions, adding, Earth cats mark their territory with, oh my. Wanting to end this line of conversation before I have to explain that I marked the vessel by rubbing my body all over it, I say, I will be in my quarters. Please inform me when the shuttle bay is ready. As the expression humans call a smirk forms on my chief engineer's face and on the faces of the others that understood what she was thinking, I start for the door. Gerb has not understood our conversation. Seeing the puzzlement on his face, Jacobs says, I'll explain it to you later, eh? I spend most of the next hour arranging my quarters to my liking before Jacobs calls to inform me that the shuttle bay is ready to receive the Kazindi craft. Please inform Shadowhawk that I will be transporting over shortly to pick up Kazindi Patrol craft, and inform Yardmaster as well. I instruct my communication officer as I leave for the transporter. After materializing on the Shadowhawk's transporter pad, the transporter chief announces, the captain would like to see you in the ready room before you go. I thank him for the message and head to the ready room on deck 1 just off the bridge. On my way, I begin to think about the command styles of the various captains I have served under. As a cadet aboard the USS Enterprise, NCC 1701, I observed Captain Kirk to be devoted to his ship, daring in his actions and friendly, but aloof to most of his crew, with the exception of the bridge crew and of course any comely human or humanoid single female. Oh, face it, he chased any creature wearing a skirt. On the USS Bozeman, NCC 1941, Captain Bateson was just as devoted to his ship, a little more reserved in his actions, and a little more outgoing with members of his crew. Of course, both captains were responsible for large vessels and crews that numbered into the hundreds, so they did not have time to get to know everyone personally. Being a small Defiant-class vessel, the Federation part of the USS Shadowhawk, NCC 74207, had a small crew. This should have given the captain a chance to become closer to the crew. However, as I reflect upon my relationship with Fleet Admiral Sareen, I find I know her the least of all. Of course, the factors of her Vulcan-Romulan heritage, coupled with the fact that when the Federation and Romulan parts of the Shadowhawk were joined, her ship was bigger than either the Enterprise or the Bozeman, tended to make socializing difficult at best. And the war, as well as the problems with Section 31 that occurred during my time on board, did not help. My appearance probably did not help either. It has been my experience that races that have feline-like pets tend to project their impressions of their felines onto me, which is understandable. Most see occasion as a large cat walking on its hind legs, although no one has ever made me use a litter box. Both the Earth's house cat and the Romulan Silay are thought of as aloof, self-centered creatures that spend most of their time sleeping. Yet stories abound of these creatures displaying contradictory behavior, from the mother cat that overcame her natural fear of fire to enter a burning building not once but 4 times to carry her 4 newborn kittens to safety, to lions providing food to an adult one of their pride that can no longer hunt because of injury or age. They tend to forget that when a feline rubs against their legs to mark them, not only is it leaving its scent on them, but taking their scent with it. In a sense, declaring, you are mine and I am yours. We are equals. As I reach the ready room door and the buzzer sounds, I make a mental note to try and form a close personal as well as working relationship with my crew. Enter, I hear from inside. Sareen is sitting at her desk, studying a number of pads filled with reports. Have a seat, she says without looking up. I'll be finished in a minute. As I sit, I picture me looking similar in a few days. Finishing the last report, she looks up. Seth, thank you for coming. I know you must have a million things to do before you leave for your new command. How are things going? Quite well, I answer. It appears we will be able to leave ahead of schedule. Good. How did you find your crew? She asks. Federation standard is replete with confusing inconsistencies for creatures whose native form of communication has evolved either because of custom or necessary into a precise, straightforward form. For example, in my own case, I have never been able to remember to use the shortened forms of certain words such as I am or do not. I know there are two possible answers. I know I picked the wrong one when an uncharacteristic smile forms on her face as I answer. It was not difficult, most were manning their stations. Regaining her composure, she continues. The main reason I wanted to see you is to congratulate you on your promotion and tell you how proud I am to have had you as my first officer. I think we made a good team. I hope together we have served the Federation well, I reply. I want you to remember I'm always here if you need me, both as a fellow officer and ship's captain, as well as a friend, she confides. Thank you. I will remember and try to be worthy of your comradeship, I promise. Possibly sensing the moment has become too sentimental, she finishes by saying, Well, I know you're a busy man, I won't keep you, Seth. She stands, as I do, and I try to think of a way of gracefully exiting. Then, remembering Serene's heritage, I raise my right paw, extend it, pat out, spread my fingers, and begin, Live long and prosper, Serene. Stand for a moment. I did not think the words sounded strange coming from a feline. She replies, Peace and long life, Disafet. With that, I turn smartly and exit. I find him, my special assignment, where I left him, sitting isolated from the other fighters in the battle bay. After inspecting his delta-winged, stylized, cat-head-shaped form and cleaning the enormous oval eye blister windows, I board the craft. After a moment, the onboard computer announces, Sent profile matches stored sample. Welcome, Seth Pilot. Greetings, I begin before I remember I have yet to name him. To upgrade your data, I am now full commander. I will make note of that, Seth Pilot, he replies. I fire up the impulse drive, and after getting clearance from the Battle Bay's flight controller, we head for the Battle Bay's space doors. In a few minutes, we are engulfed in the vast darkness. As I set course for the Bastet, I tell them to open the shuttle bay doors and prepare for our landing. Jacobs is waiting for me and watches my landing technique closely. Not bad for a felinoid, she comments. I do not know why that surprises you. Is it not a myth among humanoids that cats always land on their feet? I respond, rough tongue in cheek. True, she says, not sure if I was serious or joking. Quickly changing the subject. So this is the Kazinti ship, eh? That's correct, I reply. Short-range patrol escort fighter, Flesh Ripper class. Looking the vessel over closely, she asks, Do you mind if I have a look at her specs? Not at all, I answer, knowing of one little problem. Do you read Kazinti's hero tongue? Yes, I do, she surprisingly answers. Not believing what I just heard, I ask, You read Kazinti? Read and speak? Well, speak as well as any humanoid can, she says. I will get data on him to you as soon as I can, I promise, as I make a mental note of her undocumented skill, one that could come in handy so close to the patriarchy. As she continues her close, almost feline-like inspection of the craft, I start to leave. Seeing this, she informs, Grove told me to tell you that all the crew have reported on board. Excellent, I say, adding to myself but out loud. As soon as all of Bastet's systems are checked out, we can depart. They're done. I finished them a half hour ago, Jacob says with a pride that reminds me of another chief engineer I once served with, one named Scotty. Well, if you can postpone your inspection of my fighter, let us see if we can get underway, I say, motioning for her to join me in leaving. Well, I begin as Jacob and I step onto the bridge. Confident that I have the attention of all present, I continue. I am informed that everything is ready for our departure, so if there are no objections, Helm, plot a course for Federation Installation 9. Speed, warp 6. Communications, inform Starfleet we are leaving repair dock. We are a bit early on our departure time, Gerv comments. True, I answer, but I do not think anyone will object considering the job ahead of us. Starfleet acknowledges our departure request and adds, Good prowling, Seth, my communication officer reports. Course plotted and laid in, the helmsman reports. With one quick look around the bridge, I order, "Good, do it." We slowly clear the dock and pick up speed. As our speed approaches Warp 1 and the ship prepares to jump to subspace, I glance at the Bastet's dedication plaque with its unique hieroglyphic motto, "No one is born wise," from the instructions of Imhotep 6th Dynasty, 2300 to 2150 BCE, and I wish that he was not so correct.